Boston's been coming here for a few years now. What would you say is this year's approach to the tournament?
Well, this year, even more than usual, we're not as practiced as we are normally. So it's going to be a learning curve. You know, we have a few new guys from Colorado, and you know, we had them at regionals, but we're still figuring out what they can do and how they're going to integrate with us. So we're just going to take each game and try to get a little better over the course of the weekend.
Yeah, I've noticed the Masters team's rosters changed quite a bit year to year. Who have you added this year, and what do you think they'll bring to the team?
Well, we had three guys from Colorado: Jason Flock, Sam Barry, and Aaron Brown. They're going to bring some defense with them and a little bit of cutting. We got Dennis Karlinski, used to play with a few teams out west, and he's going to, you know, hopefully bring some energy to the team. So, and our old standby is Mike Cooper. He's our MVP last year, and we're expecting big things from him this year.
In the opening round of the Masters division, Boston's Dog, 5 seed, in red, found themselves competing against Chicago's Real Huck, the 8 seed. This game featured an exciting matchup of longtime rivals Jim Parinello of Dog and Eric Zaslow of Chicago. Dog's offense came out running strong and took half with this goal scored by Dennis Karlinski. Real Huck was not going to quit and came out with fire in the second half, getting several breaks and eventually taking the game 15-13 with this goal thrown to number 52, Graham Smith. In other round 1 action, we saw number 2 seed, Glum from Toronto in white, facing off against Chesapeake from Washington, D.C. This game highlighted both teams' high-powered offenses. Chesapeake looked early and often for their athletic receivers, who pulled down several deep shots from their savvy handlers. Meanwhile, Glum showed their veteran poise and worked the disc up the field with sharp throws and patient decision-making. In the end, patience won the day, and Glum walked away with the victory, leaving Chesapeake lost at sea with a final score of 15-12. In what turned out to be the most interesting game of the round, Big Jam from the Northwest started their campaign against Ball and Chain from Atlanta. Ball and Chain in white found themselves down early, but fought their way back with hucks like this one, thrown by number 5, Chris Hatton. This game proved to be a battle of attrition, with Big Jam pulling out a 16-14 win. This round also featured number 9 seed Rumble from New England versus the number 4 seed Boneyard in black. Boneyard comes from the South region where they finished first place. This game was a great example of what Boneyard is capable of. Their defense was stifling and gave their team a huge lead and took half 8-2. Rumble put together a small run at a half, but Boneyard's offense quickly took control and finished the game in commanding fashion. The game finished with Boneyard on top, 15-8. In the second round of the day, Real Huck, coming off a big win over Dog, sets their sight on taking down the number 2 seed, the Yondors from Santa Barbara. By taking half 8-2, it was clear that Huck was a real deal. The Yondors tried to take flight at halftime by stringing together a few breaks, but it was too little too late as Real Huck had clipped their wings. The Yondors couldn't overcome the first half deficit, and Real Huck wins 15-9. In more second-round action, Chesapeake and Blue, still searching for their first win of the day, found themselves facing the best-looking team in their pool, Le Tigre from Santa Fe. The David Hasselhoff tribute team was sporting a smooth-style offense, highlighted by this stunning huck to Kelly Swearin that put them up 7-6. Unfortunately, their good looks could not distract the DC team, who capped off their win with a big backhand huck from J.B. Harrington to Troy Revel, who comes down with a game winner, making the final score 13-12 Chesapeake. In our first look at the number 1 seed Surly from Minneapolis, we saw them take on Ball and Chain. Ball and Chain had just come away from a tough loss against Big Jam and desperately needed to pick themselves up if they were going to have any chance at stopping a well-oiled Surly, who has added even more talent and experience to this year's roster. Ball and Chain started the game going shot for shot in the first half. But Surly's dynamic offense and stingy defense would prove to be too much, as Surly puts them under the table with a final tally of 15-9. In another second-round matchup, two relatively unknown teams stepped onto the pitch to play for their first win of the tournament. Rumble, in white, coming off of a disappointing loss to Glum, had a lot to play for and came out firing. Right from the start, Slow Country started turning up the heat with a break to put them up 5-3. Rumble reacts to the pressure and gets a break off of some inspired play by Tony Leonardo. When the dinner bell rang, it was Slow Country Boyle being served. Rumble wins 15-13.
That game looked close at halftime. What adjustments did you make coming out of half to ensure that victory?
All Masters teams are sort of crafty, but Ball and Chain, they play just probably the best poachy, unstructured D I think we've ever seen. Just a lot of sort of free-form D in the lane, good switches. They're used to pick-up tournaments and just kind of playing loose. And so we really tried to have our O lock down their choices. So rather than looking for iffy throws kind of through lanes, swinging the disc around, hitting cutters who are working hard, coming under, that sort of thing.
In the third round, Beyondors and Black entered the arena to face off against undefeated Boneyard. Despite solid play from their leaders, Beyondors could not find a rhythm. The North Carolina side took advantage of several Beyondors mistakes to go on and win in commanding fashion 15-6. It has been a long day for Dog, and in the last game of the day, they knew that if they did not win here, their chances of playing in quarters would diminish significantly. Their opponent, Rumble, who had won their last game, were feeling confident that they may be able to extend their winning streak and knock off the higher-seeded team from Boston. When it was all said and done, Death or Glory kept their tournament hopes alive, winning the game 15-8. Wind played a big role in the final round, which created an intense bout between Calgary's Fig Jam and Chesapeake from Washington, D.C. This international matchup saw each team pulling out all their tricks. Each of them tried to disrupt their opponent's offense by enlisting all types of zone defenses. This game was full of long points and uncharacteristic turnovers, but neither of the teams were willing to throw in the towel as they went blow for blow in a game that ended on double game point. In the end, it was Chesapeake who delivered the knockout blow that put Fig Jam down for the count, pulling out a gutsy win with a final score of 17-16. In the last round of the day, Surly put Ottawa's Glum to the test. Both teams came into the contest undefeated. With the wind beginning to pick up, the teams were forced to adjust their playstyles. Surly strikes first, getting the initial break of the game, but despite their namesake, Glum was not discouraged and fought back, capitalizing on a few missed hucks from Surly. In the end, Surly's skilled throwers like number 2, Ron Kublanza, were the difference in the game, and Surly pulls away to win 15-9.
Surly's had some good results the last couple tournaments, coming in second at Worlds and Club Nationals last year.
Yep.
What kind of adjustments has the team made hoping to improve upon that finish?
We run into an issue because we have a really strong D-line. And so what happens is a lot of times we'll put in runs early in games. It wasn't true at the Nationals finals last year, but in Worlds last year, this year, we went up big and then I think got a little complacent. So one thing we focused on is trying to play games to 3. So don't worry about the score. You're playing a game to 3. Right now they're up 2-1. Let's work hard like we're going to win this. I think another thing we're trying to do is just try to really figure out what levers you can tweak in terms of keeping legs fresh. In Masters when it's hot out, people just drop like flies. And last year in finals we went with, we ended up having 4 or 5 major players pretty much out of the tournament. And so now we're trying to spread our PT really broadly. We're paying attention to how many points people are playing and just seeing if that solves the riddle for us.
Excellent. Well, good luck with the rest of your day.
All right, thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you. All right, I'm here with John Huck from Real Huck. And John, your team went 3-0 yesterday, surprising the entire field. What did you do to find success yesterday, and how do you plan on continuing it on today?
We just came out and played our game. We run a really kind of a possession offense. We're pretty conservative, and really, we were confident in what we do. We've played a few tournaments, and we were ready coming in. And then we just play hard on D. We try to front the other team, make them try to do risky things, and that for the most part is it. Today we're just going to keep doing the same thing. Run hard. It's windier today, so there might be a little bit more zone. But other than that, just our conservative offense with taking our shots down the field when we can.
Excellent. Well, best of luck. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
In a windy first round, number 1 seed Surly in black started out against Fig Jam from the northwest. Surly stunned Fig Jam early, going up 6-0. The punch-drunk Fig Jam came to life with this huck by Kerry Carter to Adam Topp, who scanned the field and found Raleigh Ryan in the end zone for the first goal of the game. Surly would not let up, however, showing their confidence in the wind as they go on to win 15-8. The Tigre, who came out slow in the first round against Glum, was in need of a spark to wake them up. That spark came from number 77, Kelly Swearing, who came up with a nasty layout grab to swing the momentum back in the Tigre's favor. Glum had been stunned by their opponent's energy and saw their lead quickly melt away by halftime. The teams traded points until late in the second half when Glum's defense made a charge and led their team to victory with a final score 15-10. Another game in round 1 featured a classic ultimate matchup between two of the old school dynasties, the Yondors from Santa Barbara and Dog from Boston. This time, Dog had its day, finishing off their longtime rivals with this glorious huck from team captain Jim Parinella. Dog wins 15-11. Boneyard in white began the day against Slow Country Boyle, who had a hard time getting the stew cooking against the good old boys from North Carolina. Boneyard got on top early and didn't let up. They consumed their opponents quickly, and the game ends 15-5. In the last round of pool play, the suave gentlemen of the Tigre knew that a spot in quarters would require a win against the scrappy boys of Fig Jam. Both teams had their backs against the wall and needed to lay it all on the line in order to keep themselves in the tournament. Here we see Le Tigre uncork a massive backhander to Mark Zulani, who pulls it down over 3 Fig Jam defenders. This didn't sit well with Fig Jam, and the Northwest team responds by locking down on defense and scoring off the Tigre turns with true efficiency. Ending the game on a 3-0 run, Fig Jam wins 15-11 and moves on to the quarterfinals. The 5th round also featured Glum, whose only loss thus far came at the hands of iron-fisted Surly. And here we see veteran handler Chris Keefe receive a quick dishy in power position and immediately unleashing a beauty of a backhand huck to the speedy Yuan Reed to put Glum up 7-1. Ball and Chain's tank was running on empty, and they just couldn't outlast Glum's seemingly tireless defense. Glum's future was looking bright, and they secure a second seed in the pool and a place in quarters, as they come away with a victory, 15-5. After a critical first-round victory, Dog, in white, seemed to have found their flow, and had one last pool game against Slow Country Boyle. Here we see Boyle's Will Bradshaw making use of his length, laying out for a goal to bring his team within 3. Boyle fought with conviction and managed to keep the game close, but Boston's offense was firing on all cylinders, as we can see in this textbook cutting sequence. Goff turned to see Chris Lehner headed towards the end zone. The huck was perfect, and the Dog receiver made a seemingly effortless catch to put Boyle away 15-10. In a highly anticipated showdown between the two undefeated teams from Pool B, Boneyard and Black vied to take down the real huck in what should have been a tightly contested game. Surprisingly, Boneyard was able to take control early, leaving Real Huck far behind. Huck did not lie down, however, and played with a new sense of confidence after putting together a few breaks, like this one that ends on an exciting and very telling catch for the score. The small run was not enough, however, to overcome the deep hole that Boneyard had put them in. As the game neared its end, it became clear that Boneyard's luck was with them, and the chips were not falling for Huck. After a solid performance, Boneyard rolls into quarters with a perfect 5-0 record.
All right, I'm here with Mark Britt out of Boneyard. Boneyard just came away from a decisive victory against Real Huck and taking the first seed out of their pool. How does Boneyard plan on carrying this momentum into quarters?
Well, I don't know that you can carry anything from one game to another. I mean, it's each game is its own game, and so we don't feel like we've really done anything yet. You know, we have another game in about an hour and a half, and we just have to get hydrated and get ready for that. And you know, I can't say that we're taking anything to the next game.
All right. Well, good luck.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
With all the pool play games over, it was time for the quarterfinals, and the Surly men from Minneapolis in white issued their challenge to the Southwest's Beyonders. Right off the bat, Surly's stout defense made their impact on the game, and here we see a layout block by Russ Adams. The defensive handlers pick up the disc and proceed to run circles around the Beyonders defense with a nice give-and-go game all the way into the end zone. In the end, the Beyonders, led by Steve Dugan, had met their match and soared into the Florida sunset as Surly goes on to win 15-7, punching their ticket to semis. In another quarterfinal, Real Huck, in white, stormed the field to take on Chesapeake. Both teams came out playing with a lot of energy as their tournament lives were on the line. Here we see Chesapeake at the front door of Huck's end zone, where they work the disc around until Troy Revel threads the needle to find Wei Lu in the back of the end zone. Chesapeake played solid, but fate would fall in the favor of Real Huck, who were able to connect on several deep shots, like this one to Keith Allen. Real Huck, brimming with confidence, win the day and coast into semis with a 15-9 victory. The game between Dog and Glum was a real barn burner. These two teams had crossed paths in the Northeast Regional Final, where Glum had beaten Boston 13-10. Dog clearly had something to prove as these teams collided in a very physical game. The Canadians got up early and were able to hold their advantage by utilizing their tall and athletic receivers. When it was all said and done, Glum had maintained the status quo, securing their spot in semis with a 15-11 win. In the last quarterfinal game, Calgary's Fig Jam took the field against Boneyard from North Carolina. Here we see Fig Jam's offense lead the charge, making several nice upfield passes, leading to this cute backhand dish for the goal. Boneyard was not taking anything for granted, as you could hear them telling each other on the sideline that none of the previous wins meant anything, and that this game was the only one that mattered. It wasn't too long before Boneyard's strategy of taking one game at a time had put them in a commanding lead. Fig Jam didn't give up and brought the fight to Boneyard with some gritty defense. Here we can see Jam lock down Boneyard's offense in the red zone and force a floaty crossfield blitz, where Fig Jam's defender showed some hustle to get the D against number 9, Matthias Mueller. Unfortunately for Fig, fatigue had begun to set in, as they turn it over immediately by overthrowing Mark McGee. Things got chippy as Fig Jam could feel the game slip away. This time, Boneyard would not be denied, and despite some scrappy defense, they were able to work the disc around until they found an open Mueller for the score. Boneyard wins their first elimination game with a final score 15-7. Real Huck and Surly squared off in a semifinals matchup of the Masters Division at the USA Ultimate National Championship. Right out of the gate, both teams brought their A-game, trading points to 4-3. Surly's defense strikes first with a surgical huck from Ron Kubalanza to Phil Bowen, putting them on top. Surly's offense was on fire and just couldn't miss as they moved the disc downfield effortlessly. Here we see Dave Boardman finding Paul Anderson open deep to keep Surly up by 2. Glum answers right back with a huck of their own that got them into the red zone. From here, they remained calm and soon found the shifty Paul Calloway in the end zone. The 4-break lead would end up being too much for Glum to overcome. As the game ends 15-11, Surly returns to finals looking stronger than ever.
In the next round, finals, you're going to see Boneyard.
Yep.
And they've been rolling through the other half of the tournament. So what kind of adjustments or strategy are you going to employ in the next game?
We're going to focus. They have a couple sort of big name players. Ray Parrish, number 7, is just a beast. He just had a greatest attempt in that game where he ended up halfway, 10 yards off the field, and it would have worked, hit his receiver in the hands. I mean, the dude is filthy. So we're going to be focused on him. We're going to probably run a lot of different defenders against him, try to give him different looks, sometimes like fast guys, sometimes bigger guys. I think they've got a couple big throwers who, we're trying to get their number. And then they just seem to have an army of sort of 33 to 36-year-old guys who are just skinny and fast. So we're just hoping we can run with them, and hopefully that tight game took something out of their legs.
Well, awesome. Great. Good luck.
Thanks very much.
Boneyard and Glum fought for the right to compete for a gold medal in the semifinals of the Masters Division at the USA Ultimate National Championship. Boneyard's offense was led by the high-level play of number 7, Ray Parrish. Here we see Parrish score a goal which had been set up by a nice high-release break from Augie Cravenas. This game saw breaks from each team and several lead changes. Glum had plenty of experience in games like this. Their offense chose to move the disc quickly, which was giving the Boneyard defense fits. Being patient was the right recipe for this team, and they found the end zone often. Late in the game, Glum went down big, trailing 10-14, with Boneyard only 1 goal away from ending their season. But the boys from Ottawa were not done yet, and after capitalizing on a few Boneyard mistakes, found themselves back within 1. Glum had stolen the momentum by this point, with 3 straight breaks. They took it to Boneyard when their offense got back on the field, scoring in quick fashion, 15-15. Boneyard could not believe their eyes when on stall 9, Glum puts up a blady flick and finds Owen Vlumbly in the back corner of the end zone to take the lead, 16-15. Boneyard answers back right away with this headshot to speedy Brian Lang, sending the game to double game point. Drop by Glum on the second pass of the point dealt a deadly blow. Boneyard scored shortly after to deny what could have been a miraculous comeback. Boneyard makes it to finals with a 17-16 victory.
It was an excellent game, the most exciting game I've seen of the week.
Yeah.
But now you're going to go into the finals facing Surly, who's been rolling so far.
Yeah.
What kind of strategy are you going to employ to try to slow those guys down?
Well, I think for us, we never think about the other side. What we think about is what we're going to do. And we're just trying to clear our minds, get rid of what we just did, and just try to come out to the next game like it's a fresh game. It's the only game of the tournament, and we're just going. I mean, we're not doing anything specific for Surly. We didn't do anything specific for any other team. We just try to play our game because we know we got hard D and we got really, really good offense. So that's what we're doing.